So, yeah.
The chair may take over.
Yes, Sam, are you ready?
Yes. Should I start?
We are waiting when the music is switched off.
Okay. I should start now, right?
Yes,
good
please.
afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this keynote speech that will be delivered by Dr. Lisa Bosman about best practices in teaching entrepreneurial mindset, motivation, implementation, and dissemination. Dr. Lisa Bosman is an assistant professor in the Department of Technology Leadership and Innovation, Purdue University. Her STEM education research interests include the entrepreneurial mindset, energy education, interdisciplinary education, and faculty professional development. Dr. Bosman's desire to increase STEM education accessibility and attainment have resulted in her founding of the Purdue University I Agree Labs. She has authored over 50 publications in international and national journals. She has authored the text teaching entrepreneurial mindset to engineers, and a second text is forthcoming. She currently serves as an engineering counselor for the Council of Undergraduate Research and as a division leader for the American Society of Engineering Education. Dr. Lisa, it's a great pleasure having you today. And now the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. So as Wissam had mentioned, the title of my talk today is called Best Practices in Teaching the Entrepreneurial Mindset, Motivation, Implementation, and Dissemination. With those three areas in mind, this is just an overview of what to expect. So first, with respect to motivation, I'll define, describe, and provide motivation for integrating the entrepreneurial mindset into the STEM classroom specifically and all disciplines in general. For the implementation, I'll provide a framework for effectively and efficiently integrating the entrepreneurial mindset into the classroom. And then finally, for the dissemination, gotta get my toolbox out of the way. For the dissemination, how to convert innovative teaching and learning interventions into education research for publication and dissemination. So first, we start with motivation. Where I'd like to begin is in 2018, our book came out. And when I say our, it's mine and my co-author, Bosman Fernhaber. Given my PhD in engineering and my co-author's PhD in entrepreneurship, we were definitely qualified and up for the task. It was such a big hit that we're now working on a second book titled Teaching the Entrepreneurial Mindset to All. So what is the entrepreneurial mindset? It's the inclination to discover, evaluate, and exploit opportunities. And here it's important to note that the entrepreneurial mindset is not just about startups, but is important for new product development or continuous improvement within a company or one's personal life. Although this book specifically targets engineers, and what we talk about with respect to engineers is for engineers, discovering the entrepreneurial mindset is about moving away from the traditional notion of an obedient engineer who simply does what they are told, and it instead is more about engineers asking questions and thinking more strategically about the why. So although our focus is on engineers, here on my next slide, I'd like to bring the focus greater to all disciplines, all types of workers, whether it's working within an organization or for a startup. So as this slide is titled, Role of Problem Solvers in the Entrepreneurial Process. Just to put this term into perspective, problem solvers refers to most anybody that works within a company. Everybody's doing their small task or big task or job in effect to impact the company as a whole. So where we start is first with the macro perspective. Going back to our definition, the entrepreneurial mindset, which is the inclination to discover, evaluate, and exploit opportunities. The macro perspective here refers to the entrepreneurial process, which consists of the discovery, evaluation, and exploitation of opportunities. Here, it's important to note that the exploitation of an opportunity can be achieved through organizations or as an individual, such as during a startup or in one's personal life. So what may start as a simple new product or service idea during the discovery phase continues to evolve as assumptions and hypotheses are validated, potentially snowballing into a business model opportunity to be exploited at the commercial level. In either case, whether it's an established organization or a startup, the opportunity must have an association of value. So here, the most valuable design exists at the intersection of customer desirability. Do they want this? Technology feasibility, can we do this? And business viability, should we do this? Then from the micro perspective, people of all disciplinary backgrounds and all job titles can intrinsically or extrinsically play a role in achieving exploitation of the most valuable design. People play a role by engaging in projects and tasks focused on human-centered and value-driven problem solving. Shown here is the design thinking process. So going from empathize to define, ideate, prototype, and test. However, depending on the discipline, any type of problem solving process can be easily swapped in. So for example, scientists might prefer to insert the scientific method here. Likewise, educators and teachers may prefer to insert the 5E instructional model, which focuses on engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. And engineers may prefer a more nuanced version of the engineering design process. To provide a bit more context, the next slide will showcase a short video which explains how entrepreneurial-minded engineers can play a role in the entrepreneurial process.
A growing number of universities, businesses, and authors are recognizing the need for the United States to produce engineers with an entrepreneurial mindset. With the help of Daniel and Alicia, two students who just graduated with engineering degrees, we'll look at what this mindset is and what it isn't. Daniel and Alicia received their degrees from a university that teaches traditional engineering, with an emphasis on problem solving and technical acumen. When they arrive at their new jobs, they receive the specifications and get straight to work. They apply the technical skills they acquired in college and even demonstrate some innovation, but that's where their engagement ends. Daniel and Alicia focused on the problem at hand and executed the task they were given, but they did not engage the company's customers or anticipate new market opportunities. Eventually, global competition eroded the company's market share until it was no longer profitable. Could an entrepreneurial mindset have led to a more positive outcome? This time, Daniel and Alicia began by asking questions. Recognizing the problem as an opportunity, they talk with customers about their needs. The answers make them reconsider the purpose of the new specifications. The feedback leads them to the realization that there are different markets. When they analyze societal and economic trends, it becomes clear that one market segment will grow. The specification handed to them is not the answer. Instead, they propose an alternate technology that better serves the growing market. In this process, Daniel and Alicia simultaneously evaluated the need, the market, societal trends, and technical feasibility. Now that they understand the full range of opportunities, Daniel and Alicia collaborate with each other and with colleagues to design a product that exceeds the specifications, achieves cost savings, and expands into new business opportunities. They exhibited the attributes of entrepreneurially minded engineers, helping their employer meet with commercial success.
So I just need to update my. And we're back. So part 2 now, I'll get into the implementation. Here we talk about the design essentials. In the next step of this implementation, we'll give some examples. So the design essentials are highlighted here. Number 1, entrepreneurial integration. Number 2, professional skill development. Number 3, mindset cultivation. And number 4, teaching with intention. So first, starting with the entrepreneurial integration. Like we had previously explained, from a macro perspective, the learning experience should provide the ability to discover, evaluate, and/or exploit opportunities. From a design perspective, opportunities that create the most value should be aimed at customer desirability, technology feasibility, and business viability. From a theoretical lens, these notions are grounded within the definition of the entrepreneurial mindset, as well as the most valuable design considerations to achieve desirability, viability, and feasibility, as explained by Tim Brown of IDEO. Together, the macro perspective, such as entrepreneurship, and the micro perspective, including problem solving, and the most valuable design perspective combine to create the entrepreneurial component. The purpose of designing for the entrepreneurial process is to ensure that instead of simply offering a standalone learning experience isolated by the entrepreneurial component, the entrepreneurial component is considered with respect to the course content area. In other words, if teaching a course on food science, for example, it's important for students to develop the entrepreneurial mindset within the context of food science instead of on its own within a separate lecture or a presentation that could be offered. Next, professional skill development. Here, the learning experience should provide an opportunity to develop entrepreneurial professional skills. Industry and practitioner articles often remind higher education institutions of the need for graduates who excel in a team environment and are effective in the exchange of information. These are frequently described as soft skills. It's important for the professional skills, including collaboration and communication, to be intentionally integrated into the learning activities and/or learning assessment. Group projects and project reports or presentations are relatively easy ways to gain and practice these professional skills. Third is the mindset cultivation. The learning experience should provide occasions for continued practice, reflection, and feedback. It's important to remember that the entrepreneurial mindset focuses on one's mental attitude and belief system, which is acquired and nurtured over time with continued practice, reflection, and feedback. As explained by Carol Dweck, a change in mindset requires effort, practice, and challenging tasks. Regardless of whether it's the entrepreneurial mindset or the growth mindset, practice and even more practice can change one's beliefs and attitudes, which in return can instill the entrepreneurial mindset. Finally, we have teaching with intention. The learning experience should intentionally incorporate best teaching practices, including backwards course design, where the learning goals, objectives, activities, and assessment are in alignment, as well as general pedagogical approaches supporting the learning experience. Ambrose and her colleagues had a text that's called How Learning Works, and they provide compelling justification that motivation to learn is driven in large part by a combination of 3 factors, as shown in the top box here: cultivating supportive environment, promoting value identification, and encouraging self-efficacy development. Here, when it comes to supporting or creating a supportive environment, the supportive environment encapsulates classroom dynamics and relates to one's feeling of belonging within the classroom. Research tells us that the more the environment is perceived to be supportive, the more motivation to learn increases. With respect to value identification, seeing value relates to a goal's perceived importance. As seeing value increases, motivation to learn increases. Value can manifest itself via attainment value, such as satisfaction gained from mastery, intrinsic value, such as satisfaction gained from completing a task, or instrumental value, satisfaction gained from intrinsic awards. And then the last one shown here is the self-efficacy development. Self-efficacy refers to confidence in one's ability to successfully complete a task. Self-efficacy can manifest itself as confidence in current knowledge, confidence in gaining access to knowledge, such as resourcefulness, or confidence in learning new knowledge, such as the growth mindset. I'd like to show an example specific to introductory statistics and using online discussions and how online discussions can integrate the entrepreneurial mindset. More details related to incorporating the entrepreneurial mindset into online discussions can be found in this article that's referenced here. So first, we talk about the hook. When we establish the hook, so going back to Ambrose and her colleagues, the hook aims to promote the seen value. So when we jump into assignment and we don't let students know ahead of time what the purpose is, then sometimes students lack that motivation via seeing the value or value identification. So here the hook, by watching this video and reading this intro text, can help students recognize and identify the value. Next, the initial prompt. So here the initial prompt integrates the entrepreneurial process as well as professional skill development via communication. The response prompt allows for professional development via communication as well as collaboration, because now we're working in an environment where the peers have to work together. And when implemented effectively, can cultivate a supportive environment where students feel like they belong. And then finally, the assessment. So when shown together with the learning objective and learning activities, the assessment supports teaching with intention via the backward design process. From here, I'm going to bring this back to those 4 boxes where we started and provide a bit more detail connecting to each of the 4 boxes. So first, with the entrepreneurial integration. In this case, the learning objective aims to demonstrate knowledge of innovative real-world commercial applications that use statistics. This accounts for this first one, the curriculum design essentials for entrepreneurial integration, as the focus is on commercial applications that have already been exploited. In addition, the online discussions will require students to evaluate customer desirability, business viability, and technology feasibility. Next, curriculum design for professional skill development exists in that the learning activity is online discussions where students need to communicate and collaborate with each other. Although not previously stated, when I've taught this class before, the online discussions are required of students every week. So as such, this accounts for number 3, the design essential for mindset cultivation, and that the learning activity allows for practice, reflection, and feedback, given that it requires students to participate in the weekly online discussions. With respect to teaching with intention, this shows its relevance in 2 different places. First, within the learning activity and learning assessment, motivation to learn is offered through self-efficacy, seeing value, and having a supportive environment. Specifically, best teaching and learning practices are applied through student empowerment to find and synthesize information, which promotes self-efficacy. It focuses on real-world issues, which allows for identification of value. And it allows for practice in leading discussions as well as commenting to peers, which can leverage that supportive environment. And finally, this design component related to the backwards course design, in that the goal, objective, activity, and assessment are all in alignment. Next, within the implementation, I'd like to provide a few more examples because this can provide some context for going into the intervention and dissemination as part 3. So this is a text that I previously mentioned by Ambrose and her colleagues called How Learning Works. And there's 7 principles that are identified here. This figure here, 3.2, is taken out of the book. And what I want to draw your attention to is first the value identification. So when students see value, as well as when skill development is high, and when the environment is supportive, that's when learning is seen to be the most effective, or that's where the motivation is highest. So again, it comes down to these 3 things: value identification, skill development, and ecosystem cultivation. For the next several slides, I'm going to use these as the framework for suggesting examples that I've used in the past, as well as that I think that you could use in your classroom. First, we start with value identification. It's important to keep in mind that value identification can occur from a company perspective, as well as a personal perspective or an individual perspective. The first thing I recommend for anyone looking to try something new in the classroom is to understand the why. And so this can be done by documenting a personal mission statement. So this can be an assignment for students, perhaps on the left, a fill in the blank, a Mad Libs type approach to a personal mission statement. And then an example is provided here on the right-hand side. If you do a Google search, you can find many different examples, not only for the how to write a mission statement, but there's also many examples on the right-hand side that are filled in. There's many examples that are related to an individual, maybe an individual that might have a goal of a startup, but there's also many examples related to a company as a whole. Next, once a mission statement is established, and this is how many companies work, strategic planning can take place. And so this is something that students can also do. Once they identify their mission statement, and again, they could be thinking on with respect to being as an individual in their personal life, or maybe a startup, or even working for a company, then they can establish their own strategic objectives. These can have measures as well as goals that come in with it, that have targets that they're trying to meet. This could be done on a semester basis, maybe at the beginning of the semester, what are their goals for the semester, and then touching base at certain points throughout the semester, and then finally at the end of the semester, seeing where they're at. So putting these into more specific integration, you could assign students to research companies who have a mission, vision, and strategy related to the entrepreneurial mindset, or you can assign students to write their own personal mission statement and integrating the entrepreneurial mindset. Next, skill development. Skill development can occur through self-efficacy or increasing the self-efficacy, the I know how, increasing resourcefulness, I can access how, as well as the growth mindset, I can learn how. In providing examples in each of these three areas, we first start with self-efficacy. The examples that I'm providing here are specific to what's offered at my institution and at many institutions throughout the US, but I'm confident that there's similar programs that happen throughout the world. The examples shown here are accelerator startup programs. So one that's well known within the US through NSF, the National Science Foundation, is the I-Corps program. This has three main different focus areas. The first one is a very short 5-week course that focuses on customer discovery. The benefit of this customer discovery is really in that it targets more students that come from a technical background that like to focus on the what and how of a product or a new service versus the why. And so this teaches students how to go out, ask those questions, talk to potential customers to ensure that the product is actually needed, and that information can better support the research and development. Additional examples for skill development. This is a course offered through Udacity. It's a free course. Udacity is a MOOC, a massive online course environment. Steve Blank's course is very popular on how to build a startup. And the great thing about this course is that the lessons learned are not just specific to a startup. The lessons learned can be easily applied to individuals working within an organization, or can be easily applied to one's personal life. Other areas for skill development are through podcasts, such as the Startup Podcast by Gimlet, and reading books, such as The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It. Again, I really want to stress with all three of these examples is that although the context is on entrepreneurship or startups, the lessons learned can be easily applied to employees working within an organization or even to one's personal life. Next, we move on to resourcefulness. So here we show a personal resources map. So this is something that there's templates available online if you do a quick Google search. This one shows here is really meant to be a gap analysis. So here students could identify these are the skills that they have, as well as areas where there's room for improvement, and the color coding can be done accordingly. So it could be in the green that the student feels comfortable with where they're at, and the red might be where these gaps are and where there's room for improvement. So this is just one example of identifying where their skills are at currently and where they could be improved. The last example I provide here is in developing the growth mindset. So there's several different books available as well as resources beyond books. Some of my favorites are mentioned here. The first one is the Strengths Finder. What I like about this book is that there's an assessment that's associated with it that identifies the participant or the assessment taker's strengths. So the great thing about this is that it ranks the strengths. So no matter what, there's going to be a positive outcome that comes from it, and that the strengths will be identified per each student or person that's taking the test. I've already mentioned the Carol Dweck book on mindset, the new psychology of success. And this last image here really comes out of the Dweck book, The Power of Yet. And so it's really important, and this is something that happens more often in the K-12 environment, but I think it can be just as applicable in the higher education environment, that we need to remind students that they may not be able to do this currently, but it's this yet concept. So if a student would say, I can't do this, then we follow up with yet, or this doesn't work, we follow up with yet, to really encourage that persistence and growth in getting at the skill development. So some examples of how this could be integrated into the classroom is to assign students to create a concept map and brainstorm ideas for skill development. And the second one listed here is to require students to participate in a minimum of 3 skill development experiences of their choosing and submit a 1-page reflection documenting lessons learned. The third area is ecosystem cultivation. So here we look to mentors, events, and spaces for ecosystem cultivation. An example related to mentors is first just identifying or letting students understand what a mentor is and the concept of mentors. One thing we like to acknowledge is that there's many different types of mentors available. So this notion of having this one go-to guru for advice is a notion of the past. So instead, there's many different types of people that students may want to seek out depending on the need. So sometimes with respect to motivation, sometimes you just need somebody to tell you you're doing a good job, give you a pat on the back so that you keep on going. In other cases, students might be looking for training. And so there might be some specific type of knowledge that they're attempting to acquire. In other cases, when it comes to goals, students might need somebody to just help them sit down and draft out a plan of what they're trying to accomplish. Going back up to the top, in other cases, students might just be looking for advice. And this advice might be from a work-life balance. Advice could also be achieved from looking at how do I contact employers, or what's the best way to get my resume out there. So even when it comes to seeking advice, there's many different types of mentors that could really fill this role. The next thing we encourage students to do is really reach out on LinkedIn. So using the networking power of LinkedIn, not only to connect to specific people, but then to leverage those first, second, third, fourth degrees of influence to get at the friends of the friends, or the networks beyond the initial network. With respect to events, I often encourage students to sign up for seminars, attend them, because you never know what you're going to learn. And more importantly, you never know who you're going to meet. And so these are just some examples that I provide here that have happened in the past. They could be innovation workshops, but they could also be maybe a technology specific workshop, or if it's something related to skill development, that could come into play here. The final thing we like to focus on is spaces. So spaces refer to ecosystem cultivation. Some examples that I provide here is co-working spaces. So just being around like-minded people that are trying to make things happen. But this can also happen with spaces on campus as well as in the classroom. So some examples here for integrating into the curriculum is to assign students to create a mentoring map, identifying access to human resources as shown on the upper right here. And also shown on the bottom right here is an example of a mentoring network map. And so this is similar to that skill development in that in the red boxes, although it's small here, but if you have the recording, you can always zoom in later. So in these red boxes in the bottom right-hand corner, it shows the different types of mentors one may need. In this example here is for an academic setting. Similar to the skill development, here you can fill in the blanks, and if some blanks are missing, then that can let students or even us as individuals know this is where we need to fill in our gaps and provide and ensure that we have access to individuals who can help us move forward and succeed. The second thing I highlight here is requiring students to interview, in other words, seek that mentoring advice from a minimum of 2 entrepreneurs or people in the workforce and submit a 1-page reflection documenting lessons learned. The last part I'll be going into today is on dissemination. So when it comes to dissemination, there's several different steps. The first step that I have identified here, and this is dissemination specifically with respect to journal publications or conference proceedings. So the step 1 is to decide on an intervention. In other words, what class and what are the assignment requirements. So when I first started, I gave an example of the online discussions within the introductory statistics classroom. And then I also gave several examples how it relates to value identification, skill development, and ecosystem cultivation. Even with the 3 here, it's important that these are integrated into the class topics versus being standalone activities. Other areas that offer example interventions, on the left here is Engineering Unleashed. So the website is engineeringunleashed.com. This is owned by Keen. Keen is the Kern Entrepreneurial Engineering Network. So just keep that in mind that if you go to this website and it's free for anybody to sign up, you have to register first, but then you have access to many different materials that are engineering and or technology related. In the middle here is the D School. So Stanford D School has many free resources that show how to incorporate design thinking and the different aspects of design thinking into the classroom. The last thing I mentioned here is Course Hero. So Course Hero is specific for people in academia. They require validating that you are a professor. And so that's just typically by sharing the website where your name and picture is, as well as through your email address, typically a .edu email address helps validate that you are in the academic setting. The nice thing about Course Hero is that although it's not entrepreneurial mindset specific, it provides a ton of free resources of tried and true practices that have been implemented in the classroom, including syllabus, actual test documents, in many cases it provides test answers. And so these are 3 additional resources that one can use to find interventions. So step 1, decide on an intervention. Step 2, decide on an assessment. So in other words, how will you evaluate the intervention? This could be quantitative or qualitative or both. And it could be through a pre or post survey, or in some cases, a post then pre when it comes to the quantitative. In other words, this is a retrospective that happens at the end of the semester. It's kind of like, what did you know now that you didn't know then? Or try to think back to where you were at the beginning. What is the lessons learned within that time period, or skill gain within that time period? Step 3, which I think is so important, is to draft a research plan. And I think this is incredibly important to do this ahead of time. And I say this because there's so many times, at least in my case, that I have these great ideas at the beginning of the semester, but after 16 weeks happened and then the data gets collected. And by the time I actually get to working on it, it could be sometimes 6 months or a year later. And in many cases, I have no idea what my initial plan was in the first place. So here I recommend drafting a research plan right before the semester, before you plan to implement, which includes a title. This is a great reminder of what your main takeaway or main thesis was for the intervention, as well as research questions, which are very important when it comes to education research. Theory, so if there's any theory that you plan to tie in, just noting it here within a bullet point. The method, so who are the participants? Who's the class? What is the intervention? Is it a new assignment? Is it online discussions? For the assessment, what type of data collection instrument will be used, as well as what type of analysis? And then I think that's what's really important here is the potential anticipated findings. Now here, if you get to this part and you can't realize the potential anticipated findings, then it's probably not worth implementing. And so here we want to think ahead. Is there something that I can contribute to the literature? Is there something that I can add to what isn't currently available? And then finally, the potential outlet. Where do you plan to put this? Is there a specific journal you have in mind, a specific conference proceeding, or perhaps even starting with a popular press article? Here's an example that I did. This is a before the semester, just to show you how this worked for me. So this I did maybe 3 years ago. The title I gave it was a scaffolded transdisciplinary approach to innovation-related thinking frameworks. The research question is, how can innovation-related thinking frameworks be taught from a transdisciplinary perspective? The theory brought in just current practices, best practices, and challenges. I didn't really know at the time what specific theory, but I put this information just so I knew what to think about to put into the literature review section. The methods, I specify the participants here. This is for engineering at e-portfolio class, and this is for a transdisciplinary engineering course. And I just highlighted that I'm going to take students through 4 different types of modules. So these are the culminating modules where they have to do a project in these 4 areas. For the assessment, I had students submit artifacts. I had them do a reflection after each one. They also did a pre and post philosophy of learning statement. So at the beginning of the semester, I asked, what's your philosophy of learning? At the end of the semester, I asked the same question. And then they completed a post survey with open-ended questions. Of course, this all went through IRB approval, which is very important. I highlighted some potential anticipated findings, just so I knew that I think this could be important for the work, or important for a contribution for the literature. And then I specified some potential outlets, just things where I think this could go into play. I specifically picked the interdisciplinary studies in education because this course is a transdisciplinary course. And then I also plan to submit to ASEE, the American Society for Engineering Education. ENT is the Entrepreneurship and Innovation Division. I'm now going to show you the after. It's important to note that the potential journal outlets, only one of them actually worked, and there were some changes that I discovered after. So this resulted in 3 publications. First, a conference proceeding for ASEE, the American Society for Engineering Education, which I worked on with Sandia Rumagam, one of my grad students. This was a shortened version, and it just had a high level focus on the assessment. Then this ASEE conference proceeding paper was expanded and accepted to the Open Education Studies, which had a lot of information related to the reflection. And then the third article was submitted and accepted to the International Journal of Educational Technology in Higher Education. And here, the focus is really on food science and transdisciplinary engineering design classroom, and just going into more of the details of how the intervention took place. When drafting a manuscript, these are just some rules of thumb that I like to share with the grad students that I have, and they find it really helpful. For the introduction, we like to have 4 paragraphs, first specifying what the problem is. Next, highlighting the current solutions to the problem and what gaps remain, and then concluding with the proposed solution. In other words, what is the intervention or contribution, as well as the research questions. For the background and literature review, I suggest to my students to consider providing background on the context for the example that I provided. So why food science? Also, one could consider adding background on the intervention. So why online discussions? As well as background on the assessment. One of the examples that I gave was around reflection. So just explaining why the use of reflections. Within each of these areas, it's important to consider current practices. So for example, with the online discussions, what are the current practices, approaches to online discussions, as well as the benefits? What are the benefits that students get out of online discussions? And really the challenges, because the great thing about challenges is that it can justify the methods section and why you chose to do things the way that you did. The methods, it's important to have 4 paragraphs or 4 sections here. The research design and study overview, so just providing an overview of the intervention and what the students did, as well as information around the students or participants in my case, or students in my case, but participants in general. Data collection, so whatever instruments were used for data collection, as well as data analysis. So if it's qualitative, sometimes often in vivo might be used. If it's quantitative, SPSS or Minitab could be used amongst others. With the results and discussion, here it's important to respond to the research questions. The discussion should include a compare and contrast to the literature, and the conclusion should highlight practical implications of this study, as well as limitations in future research. So here I just provide a summary of what we discussed, the motivation, implementation, and dissemination. And I really appreciate you taking the time. If you'd like, feel free to check out this book, The Teaching Entrepreneurial Mindset to Engineers, which came out in 2018, as well as our forthcoming book, The Teaching Entrepreneurial Mindset to All, which is coming out in 2021. Feel free to follow up with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, or even Google Scholar. And here's some contact information. I've done a number of workshops, and so if that's something of interest to you, you can feel free to reach out and let me know.
Thank you very much.
And that's it. So now I'll open it up to questions.
Thank you very much, Alicia, for your participation. It was very interesting about how we can get to students hands-on directly to the ecosystem where they want to work. Now we have just like 1 or 2 minutes for answer a question and answer. If anyone have any question, please let us know by the chat or can open the micro.
And I know that we are short on question time, so if I don't get to it, feel free to send me an email or follow up, and I'd be glad to answer questions offline as well.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Any question? Well, thank you very much. It was very, very interesting, very useful for all the students that need to hear that not only can do university projects, you know, how to get into close to the sector, real sector, and the real life. We have very, can we teach engineering students entrepreneurship with bootcamp activities in multidisciplinary courses? This is a question, Lisa, for you.
So I think, so when we teach engineering students, there's many different approaches. And so I've provided several here. Boot camp activities, I think is referring to like accelerator startup programs or something like that. And I think that's a great thing to bring into the classroom. And it's often done in design classrooms where that's brought in. But otherwise, when they're non-design classrooms specific for engineering, I think that's almost where it's more important, so that we can show something like thermodynamics or statics. If we can provide some real world experience or a real world need related to those classes, instead of just focusing on the fundamentals or calculations, I think that's a great place to include the boot camp activities.
Thank you very much. Well, so this is Yes. Thank you very much for your comments also. And if you can open, if you want to open your camera so we can take a picture from this session, and I will send Lisa and Dr. Andrea so about this. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much. Hello.
1, 2, 3. The picture, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Sorry, I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
What is the most difficult barrier that face young entrepreneurs in developing countries? In your opinion, Dr. Lisa?
So I think I'm currently working on a project with Ethiopia, which is considered a developing country. And what we're finding specific to that location is that the resources is the most difficult. And resources could be related to training or education, as well as monetary or financial resources, but also taking into consideration the navigational or networking or mentor resources. And so I would attribute it to those three main things, both in developing countries as well as developed countries, that it comes down to access to the training or education, access to finances to make things happen, as well as access to the mentors and navigational skills.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. Please contact Lisa. He leave us your contact information at the end of the presentation. And thank you very much, all of you, for being present in this great presentation. Thank you very much, Lisa. Thank you, Dr. Andreas, and welcome to join me.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. And now we come to the award session. I hand over to Michael Auer and Arukia Pejoto for the award session.
Thank you, Andreas. We come now to the award session. A warm welcome to you all. It is a tradition that we have a award session at the end of our conference. I have the pleasure to chair this award session together with Arukia. We have to give today 3 awards. The EDUCON Meritorious Service Award, Best Paper Awards, that are some awards, and we have this new Best Video Contest Award. The first is the EDUCON Award, and due to the special topic of the conference, Women in Engineering, Arukia would like to say some words before, then Rasmaya presents the award. You are.
Thank you, Michael. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, and I hope all others too.
No, this year, the topic of the conference is about the women engineering. And I'm so happy because here I and Karina Gonzalez, we won the prize of Meritorious Awards. And we have many other amazing women that won this prize, like Teresa Restivo, that is his meeting, and Tia Hutman. And I think that's important to remember the great women that are part of this conference, especially in the year that the conference is about the woman. Oh, and the great men too. Thank you.
Okay, then for us, the floor is yours, or the screen is yours. Better.
So excellent. Can you let me know that you are seeing the presentation slide set?
Yes, everything is fine.
Wonderful. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to join with you. I'm Russ Meyer. I am a professor at the Milwaukee School of Engineering, and I'm the junior past president of the IEEE Education Society. The Global Engineering Education Conference is a wonderful flagship event being held in Region 8 every year. And we are pleased to award the Meritorious Service Award for outstanding contributions to administration and management of the conference. The prize for this award is a plaque and a certificate, and the winners must be members of the Education Society. And the basis for judging is the dedication, effort, and documented contributions that the winners have provided in service to the conference over its lifetime.
Yeah, Ras, can you put it in full screen, because we don't see you changing the slides. We see two screens and they're frozen. That's, I think.
Let's try a different way of sharing.
Thank you.
How about that? Is that moving for you now?
Perfect.
Yes,
Move it.
excellent.
It's not moved yet. Try to move. Now, okay. It moves, okay.
Perfect, excellent. So again, you can see the eligibility and the basis for judging for this award, as well as a list of the award winners throughout the 10 years of the conference, 11 years of the conference. And as was just said, there's a wonderful collection of volunteers from all around the world that have provided meritorious service to the conference, including as we celebrate this conference's theme of contributions of women, years of the women. We see Tia Rootman and Karina and Arukia, Maria Teresa Restivo. And in 2021, we're pleased to present the award this year to Andreas Pester for outstanding contributions to the development of the conference. So please join me in congratulating Andreas. And we're also pleased to present a Meritorious Service Award in 2021 to Matthias Utesch. Please join me in congratulating Utesch for his outstanding contributions to the development of the conference. So congratulations to Andreas and Matthias. And with that, Michael, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay. Akuyad, you are presenting best papers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alberto Cardoso, and I will present the Best Paper Awards. On behalf of the awards committee chairs, Maria Teresa Restivo, Rasmeyer, Vladimir Jeroimenko, and myself, I will announce the Best Paper Awards from the IEEE EDUCON 2021. These Best Paper Awards are distributed in different categories, and the main criteria that we have considered for our decision were the relevance of a given paper for the award category, the work innovation, the quality of the paper, the writing, and the plagiarism. So the first Best Paper Award goes to in terms of the Area 1, Infrastructures and Technologies for Engineering Education, for paper ID 1354, the international impact of COVID-19 and emergency remote teaching on computer science education practitioners, presented by Tom Creek. I don't know if he or someone is author of this paper is present in this video conference. Seems not. Okay, congratulations for the authors of this paper. The next one is related with the innovation methods, teaching and learning experience in engineering education. The title of the best paper is Evaluation of COVID-19 Shock on STEM Laboratory Courses, presented by Yunfei Wu from the California State University, San Bernardino, USA. I don't know if some of the authors are here also or not. No, okay. Let's proceed to the next best paper award related with the category of attracting, engaging, and retaining human talent to engineering. The best paper is to the paper entitled Widening Young People Aspiration for STEM and Digital Careers, a case study of the DigiSTEM project, presented by Rebecca Strachan from the Northumbria University or from the STEMmer Learning from Nigeria. I don't know if some of the authors are here. No, okay.
I am, sorry. Hi, it is Becky. Sorry, I'll put my video on.
Okay, congratulations.
That's really great news. I'm really pleased, actually. Yeah, I'm not sure that any of my colleagues are on here, actually, from Nigeria, but they'll be so chuffed with that. Really great. Thank you very much.
Okay, congratulations. So the next one is in the category of serious games, game-based learning and gamification for engineering education. And the award is to the paper entitled A Serious Game for Mobile Phones Used in a Software Engineering Course, Usability, Evaluation, and Educational Effectiveness, presented by Michael Shanos. I don't know if some of the author is also here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So the next one is, sorry. Yes, well, this paper did not win the best paper, but the committee wants to say that this paper and this type of paper is very welcome to this EDUCON conference. So it's just a remark to the authors of the work in progress, a novel data globe for psychomotor based virtual medical training, presented by Bill Kapralus. And we hope this is a work in progress paper, so we expect to have more deeply contributions in future paper submitted for the next edition of EDUCON. So it's just a remark to the authors of this paper. Going to the best paper award concerning the most innovative paper regarding engineering education, the award commission decided to assign this best paper award to papers. So we have a decision in terms, a equal decision for this best paper award. So the first paper is entitled Towards a Cloud-Based University Accelerated by the Pandemic, presented by Carlos Delgado Clos from the Universidad Carlos III de Madrid, Spain. I don't know if Carlos Delgado is here.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much. Very impressed.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good, very good work. And the other paper is entitled A Hybrid and Flexible Teaching Model for Engineering Courses Suitable for Pandemic Conditions Towards the New Normality, presented by Miguel Rodriguez Paz from the Tecnológico de Monterrey, Mexico. I don't know if Miguel is here or some one of the others, the other authors. It seems not. Okay. Congratulations for the authors. And we have also award for the best student paper award. And the selected paper is entitled Providing Learning Success as a Service, a structured literature review presented by Sophie Aim from the Technical University of Munich, Germany. I don't know if
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So we expect to have future papers from you, considering that we hope to have news from this work in the near future. So we will expect new papers, not as student, but in another category. Okay, congratulations for your work.
Thanks a lot.
And we have also another category, the most cited paper regarding engineering education. And this award goes to the paper entitled Virtual Reality Engineering Education, the Future of Creative Learning. The authors are these three authors from the International Manufacturing Center, University of Warwick, Coventry, UK. This paper was presented on EDUCON conference in Amman, Jordan in 2011. So this is 10 years ago. So congratulations for the authors of this most cited paper regarding engineering education. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Alberto. You had a hard job in this session.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The list is long, but congratulations for all the authors of these best papers. Thank you very much.
And so we come to, finally, we come to the third part of this award session. Not only the format of the conference is new, we have also some new activities this year. And one of these activities is the video award. And I take over to Christian Madrich, who will now present the winner of this video award.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Can you hear and see everything I share and say? Okay, perfect. Yeah, we have been thinking about how to push a little bit the social interaction on this conference, let's say style online. And we came up, we in this case means Aruquia Peixoto and me. So thank you very much, Aruquia, for having this idea and then also to making it real altogether for the Best Video Awards. We have received more than 30 submissions from all of you on different social media channels like YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, also ResearchGate, Facebook, and Instagram. And what's really exciting is that all of these submissions together have created more than 4,000 likes and shares. So this is a huge multiplication factor for our conference and also for all of us. So that is really amazing. And now I would also like to say that we have two winners. We have a runner-up and we have a winner. And the race was very close. So first, I would like to present the runner-up with 697, so close to 700 likes and shares. These were counted at the very beginning of this week. And the winner is, in this case, is on the next slide. It's Annalisa Enokia Katakutan Bangit. So congrats from my side. Annalisa, are you here? Nope, doesn't look like this, but I would like to show you her video. So I'm just going to change from one screen to the other. So, okay, just changing is not as fast as it could be, but it's working in no time. So this is the runner-up video I would like to show you.
Mabuhay. This is Annalisa Katakutan Bangit from National University, Philippines. I am one of the authors of the paper titled Information-Seeking Behavior of Computing Students While Programming, Educational Learning Materials Usage, Satisfaction of Use, and Inconveniences. Our paper intends to understand students' information-seeking behavior when they are answering programming problems. Understanding this behavior may inform our librarians on the acquisition of educational learning materials relevant to computing students. These findings may serve as a basis in the formulation of a suitable pedagogical approach in programming. Data from 4 higher educational institutions showed that YouTube is the most preferred ELM, while textbooks and ebooks are the least preferred. For more details of our research, you can hear my presentation at EDUCON 2021. Thank you. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, so congrats again to Annalisa for this contribution. And now we come to the winner. Just gonna share the other screen. So here we go. And the winner with 790, so almost 800 likes and shares is Hua Chai from the University of New South Wales, Australia. Hua, are you here?
The session chair.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, thank you for
hello,
EDUCON.
Hua. So very impressive work. I will show this video in a moment. So congrats, and you have really took some effort to make it work. So let me just show you all this winning contribution from why. Okay, I have to change media because now we are going to YouTube. We are pretty diverse here. Okay, let's go to full screen, and here we go.
Renewable energy and distributed generation has been widely deployed in modern power systems. University curriculum need to be adapted to meet the contemporary industry demand and expectations. In this paper, we introduce how we improve the power engineering curriculum, and we take a year 3 course in electrical engineering as a case study. Here is the students' feedback.
Hi Jayashree, I'm looking for a job in microgrids area, but however I feel there is a big gap between what industry expects from a microgrid engineer, given that the dynamics are different in both. So I was wondering if you can suggest something that can help me meet the industry expectations.
Yeah. Not to worry, Kutsao. Actually, this year we have integrated the microgrid concepts into a 3rd year course and also in a 4th year course on power system analysis. Why not you take those courses? You'll get a fantastic background where the concepts of core power engineering is integrated with the microgrids. Wow. Why not you join the course?
That sounds great.
Why not you join us for a discussion in the upcoming IEEE EDUCON conference? Our paper on improved power engineering curriculum will be discussed on 23rd April. See you there.
Okay, very good. So nice work. Looks almost professional. And with this award, I would. Oh, sorry. There's still my video going on. So thank you very much. And I would like to hand back to Michael. Thanks.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you to all the presenters of the awards. We have some minutes. Also, we are a little bit behind of time with the overall program, but we didn't use our half hour for the award presenters, and so we would like to give the screen for short 1-minute statements to the winners of the EDUCON Meritorious Award, Andreas Pester and Matthias Utesch. Andreas, can you start?
Yes, hello everybody. First of all, I would express my thanks to the EDUCON Society and also personally to Rasmayer, to Manuel Castro, to Michael Auer, and all the other people in the Educational Society for this great award. It's a big honor for me. Of course, this is also a recognition for the work which we did in a great team here to prepare this EDUCON. I will speak later also about the results, the academic results of the EDUCON. Engineering education, this is my passion. I did this in a lot of countries, in Austria, now in my work in Egypt, but also in Spain, in Armenia, in Ukraine, in Russia, in Portugal, in Brazil. So I'm really honored, and it is, let's say, also some motivation for the next steps. I will also dedicate my work further for engineering education and to achieve high results. It was always one of the aims of my work to sponsor, to engage, to motivate young scientists. And I hope in my last step of my career in Egypt, I also can do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andreas. Matthias?
Thank you, Michael. Dear colleagues, esteemed friends, ladies and gentlemen, we share EDUCON, and we share not only a conference. I think we share the idea of teaching and learning together. So thank you very much for this great award. Thank you very much. And thank you, IEEE EDUCON. Great. Thank you, Rasmayer. Thank you, Manuel Castro. And thank you, Michael Auer. I remember, I think it was 2015, we started at EDUCON in Tallinn, bringing in games in engineering education. And now take a look around. Everywhere games, everywhere IT-based, computer-based learning. So this is teamwork. And I say thank you to the team at the Technical University of Munich. Sophie Heim, great work, the next generation. Clemens Drieschner, Benedikt, Betzwieser, Boris Leskowski, to my dear professor, friend Helmut Kretschmann, to all the ladies and gentlemen at IEEE Journal editorial team, thank you very much. To EGIP, Games in Engineering Education Society. And I promise you, we will support IEEE EDUCON and IEEE Education Society in the future. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is a great award.
Thanks, Matthias. Arugia, some closing words?
Yes, this is second year that you have online conference. The first year was last year when the chairs was Teresa, Gustavo, Alberto. That was absolutely crazy because the conference have changed for presential to online format in I think 1 month or less. And this year with the online conference that since last year that should be online, I think that you are starting to learn how to work in this new environment where you cannot be present for the conference, but that during the conference we learn how to contact with other resources and how to share ideas. I think that we have a community that can work presential and also as online conference. I just want to know if Teresa or Manuel wants to say something before we finish. Teresa, Manuel, do you
say the same that I sent by the chat. Thank you to all awardees. Thank you and congratulations to all of them. This was a wonderful edition. We will have the closing ceremony. Please wait a little bit after this award session to the closing ceremony. And thank to all the people that was involved in this EDUCON 2021. It was a really wonderful conference. We'll have a lot of new experiences, new things regarding the activities inside engineering education, and see you in some minutes in the closing ceremony. Thank you to all.
Thank you. And really a great effort from the organizers. That was great. And thank you for your presence in our conference. It's mine, it's yours. You are part of this community. Do you want to have some final words?
Okay.
Michael?
Then thank you very much, Rukia. Thank you very much, Michael. And I think we can start immediately with the closing session. Enrique, will you take over?
Thank you very much, Andreas.
We cannot hear you.
Okay, are you hearing me
No.
now? Not yet?
No.
Yes.
We can.
Yes,
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, clearly.
Yeah. Oh,
yes, we can
lovely.
hear you. Yeah.
Lovely. Well, first of all, welcome to this closing session for this EDUCON 2021. For concerning the education society, EDUCON is one of our primary conferences already, and that's why we consider this conference really very important for the education society. If you look for the indexing of this conference along the recent years, it has been rising, and the community has been enlarging. So it's really we have a lot of expectation concerning the evolution, the future evolution of this community. So for me, it's really an honor and a high pleasure to be with you in this closing session. And because it's the most important thing is to hear some of the figures concerning the conference, I'm going to pass the word to the stage to Tabib. But before that, I would like to, and if you allow me, I would like to thank in particular to Christian and Andres for their incredible work in this conference. And please take this thanks to all the team that allow it to put together this terrific conference. Thank you very much for all your commitment and your effort on this conference. And now I would like to pass the stage to Habib, which will be the next organizer for EDUCON 2022 in Tunisia. Habib, are you there?
Yeah, hello. How are you? Glad to be with you. So with me, Ilham. She will share the slides about the next EDUCON.
Yeah. Hello. Hello, everybody. Is it okay?
Yep.
Yes.
You speak? Habib?
Yes.
No, go ahead, Ilham.
Okay. So you understand, we are a couple for organizing the conference. We are co-chairing the EDUCON, the next edition of EDUCON. Thank you for giving us this opportunity to announce the next conference that which will be organized in Tunisia. It will be about the digital transformation for sustainable engineering education as usual. It will be held in Gamart, Tunis, from 28 to 38 March, hopefully, inshallah. And it will be organized by Tunisia section. As you know, Tunisia is well connected to Africa, Europe, and Middle East. It is almost the gravity center of the region 8, if you can say. It is geographically well connected and also culturally well connected to all countries in Africa, Europe, and the Middle East, thanks to its history. So deadlines. The proposal for special session, tutorial, and workshop will be on 15 September. And after 2 months, the submission deadlines. After 3 months, the notification of acceptance. And go on after 2 weeks, the author registration deadlines. And after almost 2 months, the pre-conference workshops and the conference opening on 29 March. The conference will be hybrid, virtual and physical attendance in Ramada Plaza Hotel. It is a Mediterranean seaside with 20 minutes from Tunis airport and with free airport transfer for who can go via flight. Many visa facilities, if needed, we can do that. And the temperature is very well. So it will be a very welcoming area. We will provide many excursions to attendees and to accompany to site of Carthage, statue of Ibn Khaldun, Louis Cathedral, Zaytuna Mosque, Medina, Cathedral of Vincent de Paul, Sidi Bou Said, the very famous Sidi Bou Said, and Bardo Museum and the Tunis Municipal Theatre. So some words about us in Tunisia. In Tunisia section, we are 3 years old, 30 years old of activities, and more than 3,000 members in Tunisia. We obtained many awards in Region 8 and in global level. In education chapter, we are also 12 years old of activities, and we had organized several co-sponsored conferences with other societies and other associations in Tunisia, and we invited many distinguished lecturers to give lecture in education engineering. So welcome to Tunisia. In Tunisia we have the sea, the Sahara, the mountains, and the beautiful architecture and beautiful people also. Welcome next year. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Ilham, and thank you also, Habib. I don't know if you want to add something, Habib, about the next EDUCON.
I think everything is clear, and please don't hesitate to contact us. We are waiting for you. I hope that travel will be possible during the days of the conference next year, and we are waiting to welcome you in Tunis. Thank you.
Thank you, Habib, and thank you, Ilham, for these
very
good presentations. And I'm sure we look forward for meeting you next year in Tunisia. Well, if not face to face, at least by these same modes. Next, we have a message from Magdalena Salazar. I think she is also online with us.
Yes, I'm here.
Perfect. Madeleine is now the IEEE Region 8 is a head of the IEEE Region 8, and she will say some words about the position of IEEE Region 8 concerning the EDUCON. Madalena, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers and in particular Manuel Castro for asking me to participate in this closing ceremony. I do that, it is my pleasure to do so, and it is also my honor to be here. I have followed as much as I was able to, not the complete event, but some of the sessions, mainly today. And I think it was an excellent conference as usual. EDUCON was great. You did a wonderful job, even in this virtual format. And I think the number of attendees has been overwhelming, and congratulations for bringing this conference every year back with such a big success. And the organizer, you have accumulated a lot of experience, and it's very nice that you are passing it to the next people. And I am looking forward to the event in Tunisia. I know how attractive the location for next year is, and I'm looking forward to it. So congratulations to Habib and to Ilham for organizing this event next year. I'm sure it will be a big success. And also thank you very much for providing this conference to Region 8 so that we can list this conference, not only list, but we can be proud at Region 8 level for having a flagship conference that is really a model for similar events all over the world in IEEE. So people know about the quality, IEEE people, I mean, know about the quality of this conference. So thank you very much. You have been very important for the prestige of Region 8 and for the visibility of Region 8. So this is my position, in my personal position, but I know that it's also the position as the past director of Region 8, but I know it's also the position of the current director, Antonio Luque, who participated in the opening session last Wednesday. And it is, as I said, we are very proud of this conference. Thank you very much. I will not like to repeat myself anymore. Thank you for being here, and thank you for waiting until the end of this closing ceremony to the people who are now listening. Thank you, Enrique.
I share with you the same feelings about the EDUCON and the same expectancies we have. This is an excellent conference, and I believe that in the future it will be even better. And next we will have a message from the president-elect of the IEEE Education Society, Martin. I believe is also online with us. And I would like to hear some words about the future of the Education Society and the role we have in this conference. Martin, are you ready?
Can
Martin,
you hear me?
We are not listening to you yet.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, okay.
Lower, but
oh no, and this, okay. Thank you very much. Oh, they're surprised
now, Martin. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Enrique, for your presentation. And first of all, thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure to being here in this closing ceremony. My congratulations to the organizer of this edition of EDUCON. If organizing a Congress is always a difficult task, organizing it in virtual mode in these times of pandemic that we are living now is much more. I am aware of the work behind it and the time that all the people involved in organizing this edition of EDUCON have devoted to it so that everything goes well. Thanks to the people of the diverse committees, the steering, scientific, program, awards, financial, panels and workshops, keynote, publicity and social media, sponsorship and exhibition, local organization and technical program and online support. Especially thanks to the online support team, which has made all the online sessions possible, up to 6 at the same time. And thanks to the session chairs, the keynote speakers, and of course, to all the attendees, to those who presented a paper, to those who participated in the round tables, and in general, to all those who attended the different activities. This is the most important part of every Congress and of course of EDUCON 2021, which makes it the forum for academic research and industrial collaboration in global engineering education. EDUCON is the flagship conference of the IEEE Education Society for Europe, Middle East and North Africa, that is the Region 8. The Education Society has supported and promoted all the editions of EDUCON since its launching in Madrid in 2010 and will continue doing it in future editions. I hope that this is the second and last EDUCON edition completely online and that the face-to-face nature will be recovered in the next edition, at least partially. My best wishes for the next edition in Tunisia and also for the next one in 2023 in Kuwait. And last but not least, we want to recognize our gratitude to the organizing chairs with a plaque to each one of them. Of course, this time virtually, but in the next weeks, they will receive them. We ask for a big round of applause for Andreas, Christian, and Thomas. And I invite you that click on the applause emoticon at the bottom of your Zoom. And thank you very much. Thank you to Thomas, Andreas, and Christian, and see you in Tunisia next year.
Okay, thank you very much, Martin. And I also share with you this the acknowledge and the thanks to the organizers, because it is really something to do in this time. Keeping this large community together during 3 days in this kind of conference is really something that they accomplished very well. And so we thank you very much for these efforts. We will now have Christian, the conference chair of this conference, and with this reinforcement of the acknowledgement for all the work you have done. Thank you very much for your effort. Okay, the stage is yours, Christian, please.
Thank you. I have the honor to thank you all, and you can believe me, I'm really happy that everything worked so well and that we hadn't great crashes or computer problems, which all could have happened. We are grateful for the support of all of you for helping make this conference possible and a success. I would like to express our thanks to the IEEE Education section, to the steering committee in the name of Manuel Castro, to my colleague chairs, Andreas Bester and Thomas Klinger, to all other chairs of sessions or committees, to all supporters in Carinthia and Vienna, like technical chairs, technical support, social media coverage, and so on. Of course, also to all sponsors, and most important, to all our authors and presenters of the interesting scientific papers during the conference. The contributions will help us to improve teaching. It was great to see how many different approaches have been presented, but also that the problems in Senegal, Taiwan, Mexico, or Germany are all the same. We are doing things really in the same way, in the same manner. We are thinking in the same way how to improve teaching, how to get students to study and not just to listen. And the solutions which had been presented are really helpful and can be applied everywhere in our education surrounding. I hope also that the contact between participants, which hadn't been that close contact as on other conferences, but still there had been some discussions. You have learned new colleagues and new ideas, and that this context will continue and that the conference will have an impact on our daily work. So I'm really happy that's coming to an end. So enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Jason, very much for your effort and everything you have done with this conference. And now it's time to hear some words from Andreas, another very important person in this conference. And I believe he is going to give us some figures concerning the education society. Please, Andreas, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. So we are coming to the very end, and it is my great pleasure to present some academic results in digits of EDUCON 21 and also to speak about farewell. I remember when we started. We started 2 years ago. I remember there was a discussion between Manuel Castro, Teresa Ristivo, Alberto Cardoso, Thomas Klinger and Gustavo Alves, and we discussed where will be the next EDUCONs. And Manuel also asked us if we can do this in Vienna. And after some minutes of thinking, what will this imply and how big will be the organizational and the other efforts, we agreed. So after the very successful conference in Porto, we started also to organize our conferences. During this time, I changed my job affiliation. I switched from the Carinthian University of Applied Sciences to Cairo. Nevertheless, everything worked well, and we started to organize the conference. So now we see some results. So EDUCON 21 in numbers. So we had 609 submissions, and the reviews assigned was 1,221 submissions. We had about more than 1,300 reviewers, so not even every reviewer has got some review, and the number of reviews submitted was 1,604. So 87% of the reviews had been returned. So this is very, very high engagement of the reviewers and of the community, of the educational society and of EDUCON in special for this conference, as you see. Also was interesting, we asked during the first submission, this was not when we knew will we be online or offline, just about the wishes. So before we switched to an online conference, we asked, would you like to have an online conference or an on-site or present on on-site? And 60%, this was in October, expressed their first wish to be online and 40% on-site. So unfortunately, the situation in the pandemic situation in Austria has changed so much that we should make a decision in January to go totally online. We also didn't really like this decision, but it was necessary to do it. So from the submitted submissions, the accepted abstracts, we accepted abstracts for full papers, for short papers, for work in progress, and also for special sessions, 234. And additional, of course, in the last not least 8 special sessions, which were provided, we have got additional papers. So last not least, except the final papers, we accepted 270 papers. The acceptance rate of the total number of submissions was 44%. So, and from this 270 papers, 265 had been submitted. and most of them also had been presented. We have had only a few no-shows. We had 6 keynote speakers, and I'm very proud that we could invite really 5 female keynote speakers, because it was the wish and it was the aim of the organizers of the conference, that we wanted to show the power of our female scientists in engineering education, and I think this we could really show. So, and last not least, we had 8 special sessions. Announced had been 12, but from these 12 special sessions, we could provide, based on the number of submissions, 2 special sessions and also 2 roundtables. I think very successful roundtables, and maybe some extended abstracts of the roundtables we also can include in our publications. So we had a lot of screenshots. I show you only one, and this we will collect all the screenshots, and later, sorry, there is something what is not intended. We will collect all the screenshots and then deliver all these screenshots to some folder, and we will share the link of this folder. Also, we will share the keynotes which had been recorded. So I didn't intend this, but nevertheless, let me come to the next slide. I would like to express my, no, this is nothing what I was. Okay, let me do such a way. I would really like to express my great thanks to all authors, to all our keynote speakers, and I should say there is one keynote speaker which I should express my very high thanks. This is to Olga Wieberg, a special. Olga Wieberg was coming from the hospital, gave the keynote, and she was going again to the hospital. It's nothing serious with the illness. It's a very happy event what she is awaiting, but nevertheless, it was a high motivation. And I told her yesterday that she has my special award for the highest motivated keynote speaker for this conference. Also, I would like to express, of course, my thanks to the Educational Society of IEEE, which gave us the opportunity to organize this conference, and also to all my colleagues from the organizing institutions, especially to my colleagues Christian Kolmitzer from Vienna, and also to Thomas Klinger, who together with me organized this. And also a great applause, please, for the student support team, which made it happen. Without our student support team, we would not be able to run the conference in such a smooth way. Also, I would like to express my thanks to Manuel Castor Special, to Teresa, Gustavo, and Alberto, the organizers of the previous conferences. Every time when we had problems, when we had doubts, when we had questions, we could ask them, and they advised us a lot and gave us a lot of hints during our presentations. My thanks also to the session chairs who made it happen that the sessions were running smoothly. Also, I would like to express my thanks to our sponsors. We had sponsors at least from 4 companies, what you can see from our website. And I would like to thank you also to the sponsors. Then we had technical support, Richard Elgner and his colleagues from the University of Applied Sciences in Vienna. And it was based on their great work that the technical part of our Zoom sessions was working so good. And last not least, I would like to express also my thanks to the management of the Carinthian University of Applied Sciences, of the University of Applied Sciences from Technicum Vienna for their support, for the use, for the grateful use of the facilities of the university, of these universities for this conference. And I would like personally also express my thanks to the British University in Egypt, which gave me the opportunity and also the time, and that I could manage this conference from Cairo also. So I hand over the baton to our colleagues in Tunisia. So we see each other in March 22 in Tunisia. And here I'm closing our conference. Thank you again very much. So lastly, before you are leaving, please, everybody who wants to, I'm stopping sharing my slides, who wants to be on a final photo, please switch on your camera. And I ask also Julia Kositz, then take the screenshot. Julia, this is your turn.
Thank you very much. So please smile.
Oh, this is beautiful.
And hold the smile because I have to go through all pages. Great. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you all for your effort, your commitment with this conference, and see you next year. Well, we missed this time the opportunity to meet in Vienna, a beautiful city. I really miss to be there, but next time we'll do that next time.
We should repeat.
See you in Tunisia.
It.
Yes.
And see you in Vienna again sometime, yes. Of course.
Yes, we will do it. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And in Cairo, Andreas. We will go there.
Yes, of course. Come to Cairo.
We will do it, for sure.
We'll do that.
Okay.
Well done, Andreas.
Congratulations.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Andreas, Thomas, would you stay online?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.